Yeah, one more time. Hold on. Oh, hey, whoa, whoa.
Hello, my strong friends. In today's video, I'm gonna take you guys through my warm up. I know last week I was joking when I said that I didn't warm up before the workout. So today I'm gonna give you an insight as to what I like to do during warm-ups. On the Strong by the Day app, we have a little toggle. Let me show you. So we have a toggle so that you can either do our warm-up that we suggest, toggle it on so that it's working through your app, or you can toggle it off because a lot of people like to do something more specific based on their own personal experience in the gym, or maybe they're working out some mobility issues or things like that. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to warm up. I'll also give you a little bit of a framework to understand how to program your own warm-ups if that's something you want to do. So let's get started. Yeah. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a framework, and it's super easy to remember. It's just called R.A.M.P. Like you're ramping into your workout with a warm-up. So R is the first one, obviously, and it stands for raise your heart rate. Dealer's choice, you can do whatever you like to do. It's cold outside, so I'm not gonna go for a nice little jog. I'm gonna sadly walk on over here and get some nice and easy, not too fast, just raising my heart rate on the Airdyne. So let me warm up, 5 to 10 minutes, easy. Begrudgingly. Cardio is good for you, okay? So don't joke about it, not doing it anymore. Other things that I see people do for the R portion of the warm-up to ramp and raise your heart rate are things like line drills, which also mix in some of the other things that we're gonna talk about. Line drills would be like back and forths of like butt kicks, and then high knees, and then broad jumps. You could do something like jump rope. You could go on a run or a jog or like a lap around the field. If you're at a commercial gym, you could get on the treadmill and just like start to warm up. It's going to help your mobility a little bit. Raising your heart rate will help your blood flow, which overall is just gonna make you feel a little bit better. You also give yourself an opportunity to get in the mindset of you're about to work out. A lot of times, getting in the mindset is half the battle, and that's can help you have a more productive workout, a workout where you're in and out quicker. All right, I'm almost at 5 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, you could also do the
shadow boxing?
Shadow boxing, or like use the punching bag.
Well, are you gonna be a YouTube fighter this year?
No, because then people would want me to fight Steffi, and I'm not having her kick my ass. All right, 5 minutes. All right, next is A, which is activate, and M, mobilize. All right, M. I like to combine A and M. Usually, I put M before A. Sorry to make it confusing. So mobilize could be anything, especially if you feel like you have really tight ankles and it's gonna be hard for you to squat that day. Do whatever you need to mobilize before you get started in your workout. So that's where this is. After you do R, like I said, your blood flow will be a little bit better than it would if you were cold. So you might feel good. In our app, we have programmed an ankle and wrist roll and then inchworms. So let me do those. Again, especially the mobilization part of this, it's gonna be up to you, honey. If you have no clue, then just do what I'm doing. Okay, and then inchworms are here. This is an inchworm. You can do inchworm static if you only have a little bit of space, but ideally you're walking while you do them. So it'll look something like this. You'll walk out, do your push-up. I like to do like a little up, down, down dog. And then you walk back in. So walk out. Oh. And then walk back in. I also like to program a kind of yoga flow, like a sun salutation flow. And that is great. It just makes you feel good. That alone can also help raise your heart rate a little bit if you're feeling a little lazy, which I know you are because you're watching this video thinking, I've never warmed up in my life. What should I do? There you go. Okay, the A in R.A.M.P stands for activate. And what we want to do there is think about what muscle group we're hitting or what lifts we're lifting that day. Today, we're gonna do some squats. I'm gonna think about what are my weaknesses in the squat and how can I best prepare my muscles to be kind of ready to squat a lot of weight. So today I'm gonna program some clamshells because I find that those help me cue my glutes a little bit better and they just help me feel a little bit better when I'm squatting. So for instance, you might want to program some push-ups. Nothing crazy, you don't wanna tire yourself out. There's a balance between doing something that's gonna activate your muscle group so you're not going in cold and then also getting tired and fatiguing. So don't fatigue yourself, just do what you need to. I usually keep warm-up reps really low. So I'm just gonna do 6 clamshells on each side. I'm gonna do 2 sets. When you're working on activating, you also might wanna sneak in some light core work because we often forget to do it at all. Also, having some core activation can also be helpful in getting your body primed to squat, bare load, and a couple different exercises. So let's do it. This is the Copenhagen plank. What I'm gonna do is keep one foot on and then I've got my bottom foot hanging and I'm going to get up. Oh, I can't do this. Hold on, disclaimer, I just had a baby and some weird stuff happens to your pelvis. This area right here, your pubic symphysis, you can get SPD pain, which is pubic symphysis dysfunction. And that's what I just experienced there. I tried to do a Copenhagen plank, babe, and it was no. Usually unilateral movements tend to aggravate it a little bit. And it's gotten more and more stable, but basically my joints just, well, that area just isn't as stable as it was back in the day. So there's some things that I can't do. And I even notice when I do single leg movements with a wide stance, I can start to feel that pain there. So let's find a substitute for me. You guys can go ahead and do the Copenhagens. Okay, I'm subbing for low to high planks. One thing that you might want to incorporate into your warm-up, which a lot of people have been doing lately, and it's gained more and more popularity, is some breathing work, some breath work. So that's something that I have a few videos on because it's a whole lesson in itself. If you want to check those out, they are more specific to being pregnant and preparing for postpartum, but really interesting stuff if you want to look into breath work and how you can utilize it to be stronger. Check that out. Okay, we're continuing our A&M. We're activating and mobilizing. I'm gonna do a scap walk. So just grab a mini band, find yourself a nice little wall, and then you want your arms to be at 90 degrees, and then you're just going to walk your hands up. This is gonna be a great warm up for things like pull-ups, bench, any kind of pulling, deadlifts, activating your lats, getting those tiny scap muscles ready. And that's harder than it looks, I promise you. Just make sure you keep the movement nice and small. It's not a huge movement, and you wanna try to maintain that tension in your band, keeping it even, not coming in, not going all crazy. Okay. If you've ever been to like a CrossFit class or a weightlifting gym, you've probably seen one of these. It's just a PVC pipe, or you can grab a broomstick. We're gonna do around the worlds. I have impeccable shoulder mobility. Some would say hypermobility, so it's of no effort of my choosing. But this is just feels good for me. I like to stretch out my spine, get my shoulders nice and warmed up. It's an implement that allows me to move my body in ways that I can't otherwise. So you could also use a band to do this same kind of thing, but we're just gonna do around the worlds, kind of playing with our end range of motion, going around. And then if you're a hardo like me, bring your hands in more narrow and it's gonna be a little more hard, a little more difficult. You could also just do the basic over the head, do the basic PVC pass through, and then bring it in. Oh!
Damn, you could low-key get pretty narrow.
Wow, there's people who can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like they can like hold their hands like this and then go like do some kind of thing.
Oh, she's a dancer.
Oh no, God. Edit that out. All right, you're done with all the light work now. Let's get a barbell in your hands, you know what I'm saying? Because it's time to go. I love a barbell complex. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're just gonna do a simple barbell complex. This is great especially if you're the type of person who walks up to that empty bar and you just slap the 45s on each side and you just get right to it, maybe consider doing this first. It'll take you 1 minute. What I do is just a nice little complex with an empty bar. So I'm gonna do bent over rows. Let's do 4 reps. Then I'm going to clean it and do 4 reps of overhead press. Then I'm going to put it on my back and do 4 reps of squats. Super simple. You could do so many different exercises with this. And you know, if you're feeling crazy, do another set. Give me 2 or 3 sets, and then you're gonna feel great. Obviously, you can do front squats. You could do deadlifts, RDLs. So that's your empty barbell complex. You hear that knee cracking? I'm trying to get all those cracks out before I get to my top set. Let's see if we can do it. You might be wondering, what does the P stand for, Megan? And it stands for potentiation. I've honestly never used the word outside of lifting. I'm not sure if it has other meanings, but it does sound like potential. So think about your potential and think about how you're gonna reach your potential. You're gonna potentiate. I don't know if that really checks out, but it makes sense to me. Okay, so potentiation basically means adding more and more weight to the bar in the specific movement pattern that you're doing so that you can work up to your potential or work up to your top set for that day. So let's say my squat max is 120 pounds and I am only squatting today 100 pounds. I'm not just gonna walk up to the bar and do 100 pounds, am I, right? I'm going to slowly work up to that. This is a topic of conversation, especially newer intermediate lifters want to know. We're gonna help you out and kind of provide a framework. Once you get to that advanced level and you're super, super strong, you're probably gonna walk in, maybe touch the bar, do some empty barbell complexes, then you're going to add 45s on. Maybe, depending on how strong you are. Then you're probably gonna add quarters on, 25 pounds on each side. Then you're going to take those off and put another set of 45s on. Again, it depends on what lift you're doing it in and how strong you are, but most advanced or elite lifters get into that groove to where they're not finding an exact percentage, which is something you might wanna do when you're a little bit newer, but rather you're just kind of taking gradual jumps with the plates that you have. As I mentioned, newer or close to intermediate lifters may be super confused with the potentiation phase. For older, more experienced lifters or lifters who are just lifting a heavier total amount of weight, you might do something more similar to this. So let's say my goal is 300 pounds. I'm gonna warm up with the bar, 45 pounds. Then I'm gonna add those 45-pound plates on, 135. Then I'm going to do 205, 240, 275, then 300. So that is, 6 total amount of warm-ups if we're still counting bars of warm-up. And then here are your percentages that kind of equate to it. It's gonna look different if you're someone squatting 300 pounds versus if you're someone squatting 85 pounds. So if you have a lower overall intensity of weight lifted as your goal weight, you might not need to take that many warm-ups just to get to this weight. But also if you're a newer lifter, then maybe extra warm-up work might be more beneficial to you in the long run because you're still developing that movement pattern, you're still working on form. So I would suggest maybe doing something like this. Let's say I'm trying to get to 85 pounds for a squat as my top set for the day. I'm gonna start with the bar, then I'm just gonna add 10 pounds, then up to 65 pounds, then 80, then 85. So for me, if I was going to lift 85 pounds, I would not take this many warm-ups. A lot of times people get married to the idea of getting to the exact percentage, but that might not be very practical for you. It also might just take more time than it is worth calculating. I would just round down, figure out as you go what warm-ups are feeling good, what you like to take, and then, trying not to get too married to exactly hitting the exact 15% exactly, if it doesn't round out to be an exact number that you can make in your weights. Don't overthink it, but take your warm-ups and potentiate up to your top set. Anything else we should add?
Meg kind of said something like this, but I think to reiterate, whether you're lifting 300 pounds, if it's your 10 rep max or if it's your 1 rep max, that's going to change this a lot. In that if you're going up to a relatively light weight, you just won't need that many sets.
Another thing, this might change, or you might want to do fewer reps in each individual warm-up set, depending on if this is a 1 set of 1, like a heavy single, or if this is a set of 10. So if it's a set of 10 and you're doing volume, all of your sets might look like 5 or more reps. If you're doing heavy singles, maybe they're just singles aside from your earlier weights. So if I were squatting this, 300 pounds is close to my all-time max. I think I've squatted 308 in competition before. Humble brag, you know what I'm saying? But let's say I wanted to, in training, work up to a 300-pound single. I would take the bar, I would do that barbell complex that I showed you guys, and also I would probably, just to get all the cracks out of my knees, honestly, I'd probably take this for 5 reps, empty bar. Then I'd move on to 135, I'd take it for another 5 reps. I'd go slowly start to taper down, maybe 205 would be 3, maybe 240 would be 2, just so I'm feeling good. Probably not, it'll probably be 1, single, single, single. That's kind of gonna be dependent on the lifter, what feels best for you. You wanna make sure, especially if you're going for a single, that you're not over fatiguing yourself, that you're not fatiguing yourself at all. You're just doing what you need so that you can reach your potential in that heaviest set or your working set for the day. Okay, so Ryan asked if this was a 300-pound deadlift AMRAP. So my best deadlift is over 400 pounds. And if I were gonna hit this for as many reps as possible, I would 100% do single, 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 single. So it is gonna depend, and those are kind of things that, you know, as a newer lifter, you might not need to overthink. That's something that I've learned just by taking AMRAP sets for almost 7 years now. Oh my God.
Or if it was your overhead press and your working set was 85, you'd probably you might even skip that 80 and just jump a little bit more or something too, huh?
Oh, if let's say, okay, let's use that as a scenario. Okay, so same weight, 85% is close. It's maybe 90% for me. My current training max for overhead press is like 95 pounds. So 85 pounds would be pretty heavy for me. Let's say I'm going for an AMRAP set there. I would definitely take the bar, then I'd go 65, maybe I'd go 75, and then I'd go 85. It takes experience, but also it takes experience to get really strong. And it takes experience to understand what you like to do, what you feel best with. You know, and people are going to debate all the time. I remember a couple years ago in powerlifting community, there was a big debate as to whether or not the strongest of lifters needed to even touch the bar, the empty bar. Like, should they not even look at it? Maybe. If you're deadlifting 1,000 pounds, you doing an empty barbell complex might not do much for you. Maybe it helps you get into, you know, a rhythm. Maybe it helps you to mentally prepare, kind of like some of the R.A.M.P stuff that we talked about. But is it really helping you in your potentiation phase? No. 135 probably won't even be helping you in your potentiation phase either because it's under 10%. There
was a US powerlifter who won world championships who had a squat opener over 600 pounds, and he would go like 135, 400, 550 and then open. I don't want to. Well, I think he got kicked off of the team because he had conflicts with the coaching staff, even though he was indisputably an exceptional. He was a champion.
See, so lesson of that story. If you guys caught that, people can be passionate about this, and I see in the comments all the time people get so hung up on it. It doesn't matter. Just warm up. It really doesn't matter. And Ryan and I remember getting a super heated combo as to whether or not I should be lifting in between this 95 pounds to warm up for my squat. Like,
it was 88.
Like a fight. And this was competition specific, and he was coaching me, Hanny was coaching me, and we all got in a fight about it. Anyway, that's the warm-up video. Hopefully you guys learned something new. I have other warm-up videos if you want to dive more into this topic. Like and subscribe. If you're new here, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.